This is a free sample of the book Don't Be Simp-Pathetic by Cairo Copeland. The first half of this book is posted right here on YouTube, free for everyone to listen to. If you like this content and want to hear or read the rest, or want to listen to it free of ads, visit reinventideal.com/simp. The book is available on Kindle, paperback, and Audible at reinventideal.com/simp.
Intro: The Sad Life of a Simp. The third client I took in my coaching practice is one I'll never forget. He was my first simp, and I like to refer to him as Pursey. Now, not Pursey like the name, but rather if you combine the words purse and pussy, that's more like what Pursey was. I'm not trying to make fun of him with this name, don't get me wrong there. Rather, I'm giving it to protect him from great embarrassment. He was a guy that was friends with a very beautiful woman, and of course, wanted to be much more than just friends with her. And the stories he'd tell me about his interactions with her, it truly made me cringe. And I had to do my best to hide that cringe in our coaching sessions. It's not all because he sounds so awful in these stories, but because I know how easy it is for guys to feel this way. I've been sorta like this guy before, and I still carry shame from those days. And perhaps you've been there before as well. Well, this book is so you will not go back there. Pursey boy. My coaching practice helps guys get better with women by helping them get better with all aspects of their life. Physical fitness, diet, financial planning, minimalism, developing emotional intelligence, conversation skills, and becoming one of the cool kids. Something that my practice does to make it real is in-field training to become confident at talking to strangers, particularly women, and get better on dates. During these in-field trainings, unbeknownst to my clients, some of the women they talk to and go on dates with are women that are employed by me. One such woman that interacted with Pursey as part of his coaching was Angie. On a scale of 1 to 10, she'd be at least a 9 on even her worst days. Angie and I have a good relationship outside of working together. One day, we were going to the gym, and since staying in shape is required in her contract with my company, and she handed me her purse to have her hands free to grab her keys and shaker cup. She was about to head to the car, but I stopped her to hand her back her purse. "But Pursey would have carried that for me," she said. "He says I should always expect that kind of treatment from a man. We're trying to correct that behavior now, aren't we?" I replied. She laughed and took her purse back, and we got on our way. On the car ride to the gym, she told me all about his demeanor on their setup date, and it was hard to hear. While she pretends to be interested in him, because I pay her to do that, I also tell her not to be easy on the date, to push back and be like a modern bitchy disinterested girl that thinks she always deserves better than what she's currently getting. So Angie did. On their staged date with Pursey, she turned on her dominant side and immediately started bossing him around, and he took it. She dictated where the date would be, which was clothes shopping at her favorite store. This is how I knew Pursey needed a lot more help, because no man in his right mind is interested in going clothes shopping with a woman. Throughout the date, she often interrupted and talked over him and made him wait almost 2 hours while she was in the dressing room one time and holding her purse for her the whole time. This poor fellow had no boundaries and made that apparent to her. Now, some other guys would have blown up at Angie when she does this on their stage dates, or they just walk out on the date because that's what I tell them to do. But not Pursey. He remained there like the loyal, thirsty simp he was. Now, of course, Angie is not an evil bitch that uses guys for her own enjoyment. I pay her to do that. But many women in the real world have tons of orbiters that seem to bow at their beck and call to do whatever their queen commands. Those women are not evil either. They are rather conditioned to expect this kind of treatment from males by contemporary culture. And when guys try to win a woman over by first being her friend, they do such a good job of being her friend that the naive, culturally conditioned woman falls for their deceit that they have completely pure intentions of just friendship. As a result, they dismiss any kind of sexual consideration for that man. They legitimately believe that these guys are their friends. Now, Pursey had a host of other problems besides supplication and submission to women. He also had a one-itis, or unhealthy obsession, for one girl he was orbiting. She could do no wrong in his eyes, and he absolutely had to have her. There was just one problem. She had already rejected him a long time ago. To make matters worse, Pursey was heavily addicted to pornography, not just the kind you can scoop up easily for free on the tube sites, but the porn available on OnlyFans and webcam websites. These habits were costing him a good $300 a month. While this fellow put his money where his mouth is, he made his mouth well known to the world with his other habit of white knighting. I could see this from scrolling through his social media feeds, often finding him standing up for the women that were involved in comment wars. This one may not have cost him money, but certainly time and energy were flushed down the drain during this. Pursey was a simp in desperate need of help. Many in the Red Pill Consortium like to make fun of simps. Many are glad for their existence because it makes them look better by comparison, but few see simps as a problem, and they are an enormous problem. Their behavior is not just hurting themselves, but it also hurts you as well. If a guy friend of yours gave you this book, do not be offended. Now sure, he did so because he saw your behavior as something detrimental to him, but also because it first is detrimental to your life. What is a simp? Some might say it's an acronym for sucker idolizing mediocre pussy. In some cases, that's true. But a simp will allow themselves to get walked on by mediocre and first-rate women. Urban Dictionary defines it as a man that puts hoes before bros, which is also true, but it's not the whole truth. He even puts women before himself, as simping is a very expensive characteristic to continue exerting. The term can be defined much deeper than mere thinking with the wrong head. It can be a guy that is overly desperate for women, even if she is a bad person or has expressed her disinterest in him, yet he continues to obsess over her. Simps are often virgins that will accept sex from anyone, regardless of who they are. They can be considered extremely thirsty incels that have not yet taken the black pill. It is when a male is overly submissive to a female and gains nothing from it. So overly submissive that other guys cringe and feel ashamed when seeing them. This applies to males in relationships when they are so submissive that they say literally anything to be in favor with the female. It also applies to males not in relationships but seeking to attain one by being overly accommodating to a female. This male is very thirsty when it comes not only to sex, but female attention in general, to the point where they accept being confined to the friend zone easily, to the point where being an emotional tampon for a woman is better than having no contact with her at all, as they see it. These guys are referred to as orbiters. The simp also tries to appeal to women through white knight behavior. This is when a guy will stand up on behalf of a woman in an attempt to display Captain America-like qualities, which he hopes will impress her enough to win her favor. Other names for these guys are Captain Save-A-Ho and Messiah Complex males. Simps are the types that will foot a large bill for a first date. They'll take the woman to an expensive restaurant and flaunt their disposable income with endless pouring of pricey wines and getting the most expensive entrees on the menu. Maybe they'll even leave a fat tip in cash on the table, but all of this is done to impress the woman. Use of their financial resources is not always their original idea. Sometimes the female understands she has a simp at her beck and call and uses it to her advantage. What she seeks from him is not just his attention and getting easy validation, but also gifts and material things. A simp will gladly buy her dresses, shoes, handbags, and countless other possessions, all in a vain attempt to build up sex credits. Some females do grant their simps official long-term relationships, and during these relationships the simp is walked all over as he bends over backwards for the happiness of his partner, even at the expense of his own. She regularly makes demands of him that he do certain things for her, from gestures like dates to chores and big projects around the home. He, however, is given no right nor leeway to make any demands of her. She can let herself go as far as her appearance is concerned. She can do as she pleases in the home, even if that's nothing at all, while he does all the household labor and pays all the bills. In some cases, she can even sleep with other males. Sometimes, it's not even cheating, as the simp may give his blessing on the extramarital affair. He does this because he'd rather be in a relationship where he is not respected than to not be in one at all. Another name for this male is cuck. Many of them don't even know that that's what they are. Other simps in relationships know very well what they're getting into. They even welcome and facilitate the arrangement for themselves. These males are referred to as sugar daddies, who pay females merely for their existence, and to garner their attention from time to time. Many of these sugar daddies are well-to-do males with vast resources. Perhaps the money was made from labor or more likely investments, but these males get very little return on this investment. In many cases, the sugar daddy never even has sex with his sugar baby. He merely pays for the privilege of her company. Simps are often addicted to pornography, as they can't go a single day without looking at it. Some days they even go on porn binges that last for hours. They rub themselves raw and damage their ability to perform well in real sex with the long masturbatory sessions. Yet this false imitation of sex only increases their thirst for real sex, because no matter how satisfying an ejaculation during a porn binge is, it is never satisfying enough. Far too much time in the shortness of life is wasted by these binges. Seemingly less harmful than pornography is the soft porn of e-thoughts on social media, which are a new line of work made available to women thanks to simps. An e-thought, or regularly called just a thought, is a female that uses her social media platforms to sell her body to simps for attention and even money. It is an acronym for "that hoe over there." She will plaster provocative photos, videos, and streams all over Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitch, but then use those platforms to bring the simps to other platforms, namely OnlyFans, Patreon, and ManyVids. These platforms are like a social network strip club. They facilitate the sale of revealing or even outright nude photos and videos, referred to as content, which is ironic because the subscriber of such media is anything but content. For a monthly fee, a simp gets to see sexy media of a famous thought, or maybe even a woman he knows in real life, like a girl he went to high school with. The promise of getting to exclusively see a side to a woman he's fantasized about for so long is what stirs them to spend hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars per year on these small slivers of sexually arousing material. Like a dog waiting by the master's table for crumbs to fall, they take whatever they can get and await so eagerly with enthusiasm. At no moment does it ever enter their mind that they are being exploited. So in short, a simp is a male that puts himself in a subservient position to a female for the hope of winning her approval. Now, none of this book is meant to pick on the simps or assign them lower value as humans. The world itself is one large simp factory, as it is a slave to the fempowerment mandate. Being a simp does not make you a second-class citizen. Only realizing that you are one and continuing to act as one does, because simping is the willful engagement in slave-like behavior by males for females. However, every heterosexual male on Earth has a little bit of simphood conditioned into him, thanks to the blue pill. The simp within is the voice in your head that says you can't live without her when you're in a relationship. It is the reflex to do anything to win a woman's heart when you are seeking a relationship. It is the belief that women's attention, affection, company, and closeness are incredibly precious things that are not easy to come by. Are you yourself a simp? Let's find out. Do you believe that this one girl you're currently pursuing is your soulmate and you must have her? Are you still pursuing a girl that has already rejected you? Do you believe that the best way to win a woman's heart is through sweet and romantic gestures? Have you ever taken a woman on an expensive first date just to impress her? Do you compliment women's appearances frequently? Do you believe you were the lucky one in finding your girlfriend and not vice versa? Have you hung on to an unhealthy relationship because you believe a girlfriend was not easy to get? Do you leave flattering comments on social media posts by women you don't even know? Have you ever subscribed to an OnlyFans, Patreon, or Premium Snap? Do you send good morning and good night texts to your girlfriend reliably every day without prompt? Have you ever paid a bill for a girlfriend, or a woman that's not even your girlfriend? Have you ever defended and took the side of a woman in an argument on social media? Do you tell others how much you respect women and were raised to do just that? Do you have an enormous porn stash hidden on a hard drive? Have you ever laughed at an unfunny joke because an attractive woman told it? Have you begged a girlfriend not to break up with you? These are the characteristics of a simp. Every male is conditioned by the blue pill to be a simp to some degree. The amount of this behavior they exhibit varies from male to male. Some will shed themselves of this behavior after taking the red pill. Others will remain simps for the rest of their lives. When you have one-itis, an unhealthy emotional attachment for just one woman, you are exhibiting simpish behavior. This is perhaps the most detrimental of all behaviors because one-itis is a threat to a man in every aspect of his life, physically, financially, emotionally, and socially. When you have a horrendous absence of frame control, or when you are in a woman's frame, you are being a simp. When you catcall a woman out of intense sexual thirst, you are being a simp. When you buy a woman a drink at the bar, you are being a simp. When you throw money at women, not just on dates and in relationships, but also at women you don't even know, such as strippers, porn stars, and e-thoughts, you are being a simp. You're simply paying these women just because they exist. When you are a sugar daddy for a woman, you are a simp. Again, all you're doing is you're paying a woman just for existing. When you're extra nice to a woman just because she's pretty, you're being a simp. You're not even being legitimately nice. If the woman was ugly, you'd be a lot less nice. But you're nice to the pretty lady because you're hoping to get something back from being nice to her. The only person who sees niceness as a currency is someone who isn't legitimately nice. The definition Reinvent Ideal uses for a simp is a male with a terrible lack of sexual intelligence. Therefore, the course correction for simpish males is to develop sexual intelligence, which is what this book is all about. Before we get started, I have a free gift for you. As a way of saying thank you for listening to this audiobook, I want to give you a free gift. At reinventideal.com/free gift, you will receive the ebook DMs for Dates, using Instagram like a dating app. What this ebook covers is how to carry conversations with women you wish to date on Instagram through DMs. And this works with both women you already know and with women you haven't met yet. I will show you how to save time, avoid endless chit-chat, and get her on the date sooner. So head to reinventideal.com/free gift to claim this now. Thank you so much for listening. Before we continue, we got disclaimers and a caution to read because we live in such a litigious society full of complete imbeciles that want to blame everybody else for all of the problems that they have. No personal responsibility or anything for their actions, no. So, let me read this to make my attorney happy. You are responsible for your actions and behavior. None of this book is considered legal, personal, medical, or financial advice. By continuing to listen to this audiobook, you hereby indemnify and hold the author, publisher, and parent company, Reinvent Ideal LLC, as well as its directors, officers, agents, attorneys, owners, employees, and successors, and assigns harmless from any loss, liability, claim, or demand, including reasonable as well as unreasonable attorney's fees, from any loss, liability, damage, and cost arising from or in any way related to the contents of this audiobook. You accept full responsibility and liability for actions and results from use in any products, services, or suggestions made inside this book and its supplemental resources. Reinvent Ideal LLC specifically disclaims any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, incurred as a consequence directly or indirectly of the use and application of any techniques or contents of this book or manual or supplemental materials provided. By continuing to listen to this audiobook, you agree that you are voluntarily participating in these activities and assume all risks of injury, physical, financial, or other, yourself that might occur, and acknowledge it is your responsibility to decide if you want to follow the contents of this book or not. You are responsible for yourself and release all liability from Reinvent Ideal LLC and its owners, the author, publisher, and parent company. Before acting on anything in this book, seek the advice of a competent professional. All right, we got the lawyers satisfied. Now let's move on.